In this video, we're going to learn more about the reasons that schools provide as to why they will not test for dyslexia. As a parent of a child with suspected dyslexia, it can feel like you're trying to move a cruise ship with just a piece of string in your teeth. Advocating for school-based testing is often an uphill battle for many reasons. The three most common reasons I hear that schools deny your parental request to test for dyslexia are that they say that there's no academic basis for testing, that your child has average grades, that you reside in a state in which a school does not do the testing and they rely on medical professionals to do that, or your child already has a previous diagnosis of ADHD. So they like to say that there's no way to tease out whether or not the reading struggle is due to dyslexia or ADHD. Please know that as a parent, it is your federal right to request testing from the school without waiting for them to initiate it. Even though this is a federal law, too often parents experience pushback from the school as they deny that testing. Most frequently, the school will rebut based on the fact that the child is not showing any academic concerns. What the school tends to not understand is that kids with dyslexia can mask their struggles at school through their master compensation techniques if they have less severe dyslexia. But that doesn't mean that they're not struggling or that you don't see the emotional fallout from them at the end of the day when they express that frustration. It's extremely common for kids to work very hard to hide their struggles, since a large priority of their world is making sure that they present like all the other kids. They don't want people to know that they're having a hard time keeping up. Also, it's my personal opinion that grades are relatively arbitrary and subjective, since the power is in the interpretation and personality of the teacher. It is not uncommon for our kids with dyslexia to strive to make those average grades and not have their struggle reflected in their grades. The second most common reason that they do not diagnose is that you are located in a state in which they place the responsibility of testing on medical professionals. Dyslexia is considered a clinical diagnosis, which makes diagnosticians and LSSPs able to test and diagnose dyslexia. In fact, the federal government specifically asks schools to test for dyslexia. The Federal Office of Special Education Programs, known as OSEP, published an October 23, 2015 Dear Colleague letter stating publicly that they endorse and permit schools to complete testing for dyslexia, dysgraphia, and dyscalculia. Because of the structure of our governmental system, technically state law does trump federal law, but there really is no basis for the state's law. The third reason I often hear from parents as to why the school won't test is that their child has an already established ADHD diagnosis, and they're receiving accommodations and possibly even small group reading support for this. They say that it's impossible to tease out the reason for the reading struggles as ADHD or dyslexia, and therefore should not test. This is an answer I would not rest on, since ADHD is one of the flags for learning disabilities. Although indeed you can't 100% confirm the chicken or the egg as the direct source of the problem, it is too often both playing a part. There are still patterns we can see in testing that would tease out dyslexia specifically. A student already receiving special education time for reading due to a diagnosis such as ADHD isn't enough, in my opinion. I would want to identify and name dyslexia so that you can advocate for the very specific interventions that are tailored to the dyslexic brain versus generic reading support. How to solve these problems is not always a clear-cut answer, but often it starts with hiring an educational advocate to help fight for what you rightfully deserve. When you work with Dyslexia on Demand, you can trust that our expertise, individualization, and therapeutic programming sets us apart. Our expert CALTs keep a steady eye on student progress through qualitative feedback and quantitative progress monitoring to provide tailored instruction to each student's needs. Please visit us at dyslexiaondemand.com to schedule a personal meeting with me to learn more about how we can change the life of your child. And please like and follow for more educational videos such as this one.